Henry, I can't figure out where Henry went. What is Henry doing? He's always looking over my shoulder. I just wonder where Henry is. Hello there, this is Sarah Poff, and I am the Multimedia-Storyteller, and I'm here to tell you another story and let you be part of it. So, Henry, this is my wooden Henry. Henry is my Revolutionary War ancestor. This is just my little wooden painting that I made look like a colonial person. Because Henry was an older man in the Revolutionary War. He was, to give you a little perspective, he was like Benjamin Franklin's age. He was actually a couple of years older than Benjamin Franklin. He and his wife were both still alive at the time of the Revolutionary War. They actually had their 50th wedding anniversary in 1776. What an iconic year to have a 50th wedding anniversary. If you're ever interested in knowing more about how to figure out some of the genealogy side of the Revolutionary War, you could give me a shout out in the messages below. So now that's not why you came here today, but Henry's just always looking for me to remind you of the freedom that he and the people in his era fought for, that we still celebrate today and still have today. Our country is a great place. So I have a copy of our Constitution, our Declaration of Independence. I have the Constitution too, but it's not in here right now. It was written on July the 4th, 1776 was when the men signed it and it was finalized. Now, I told you I might tell you some legends. Do you know that I heard there might have been more than one person besides Betsy Ross that made that flag? I don't know. I heard that tell. I went to Betsy's house and that's what someone there told me. And have you heard of the Boston Tea Party? Oh, they threw those tea bags. Now, is that one true or is that one a rumor? I think that one might be true too. Hey, it's nice to see some people joining me. Thanks for joining me. So then we have, of course, our picture of George Washington in that icy river. He kept forging forward because he wanted our country to be free. Also, we have that story about Paul Revere and how he rode. But did you know Paul Revere wasn't the only one? There were several other. I even heard tell there might be a woman who helped with some of that. There's some women who actually helped fight and some women who actually did some important things in the Revolutionary War. I'll let you find more out about that if you go to your local library branch and you look up some of the information about the Revolutionary War. I didn't know. I didn't think about it. For a long time, it took me to figure out that the United States wasn't here for a while, and there were people already here besides the Native Americans. There were already colonists here. They just had a different ruler at that time. Their ruler was the king in England. And so then the war came to be, and we became our own country when they wrote that Declaration of Independence, and people started fighting for the cause. The war went on quite a while. Here's one of the pictures. The Revolutionary War, 1775 to 1783. That's what this document says. And then, of course, here's one that's about our Constitution. So today we're going to turn this camera down, and I'm going to show you some things that you can make, because I called this program Fun Works, because it is a lot of fun. I told you the history side, now we get to have the fun side. So I have these items here that I have made and others have made with me. And instead of having things that are dangerous to play with on 4th of July, make you some fun works. All you need is some construction paper. You need maybe a toilet paper roll. If you have tissue paper or a ribbon, there's all kinds of different ways that you can decorate that one. So this one right here is just a little toilet paper roll with some stars and blue paper and some tissue paper inside of it. Now I would like to start, because one of the things that's important here is that declaration. And I'd like for you to think about that as you play and you have fun on this 4th of July. So for this one, we need either white paper or off-white paper. And I'm going to send my camera down so you can see my hands. Looks like I might have to move it down, move it over. It's supposed to be ready here, and it's not as ready as I thought. Okay. I still need to move a little bit more. You're not going to be able to see my hands very good. Okay, I think that might work here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some off-white paper, and I'm going to take and get me a dark colored crayon. Or a colored pencil. You can do, you can decide on some of this, what you think might look good. And the most important thing on this document would be that you put July the 4th, 1776, and in Congress. That's what my declaration said. Well, I was going to put it back on there, but I don't know. After I showed it to you, it went away. Oh, here it is. Right here it is. Okay, so in Congress, July the 4th, 1776. So we're going to take this, and I'm going to have to write it and then turn it around for you. July the 4th, 1776, and then in Congress. Okay. So July the 4th, 1776, in Congress is what we want to say. Then you could write more if you wanted, or you could just take and do some lines that would represent that there were words there. Okay. And it might even be fun to pull that up on if a mom or dad pulled it up on the internet for you and you were able to see some of the people that signed the Declaration of Independence. So now I'm going to take this one and I'm going to roll it. You can roll it around a toilet paper roll. You can roll it around itself or a paper towel roll and cut it. I'm just going to roll it. Because can you imagine how exciting it would be when this document first came out to be going out with your copy and taking it and sharing it with people around you. So now I want to put a little glue on the edge. And then I'm going to roll it fairly tight. But also to know that you might be in danger. Because what if the King of England found out you were one of the ones that wrote this document, that helped write this document, that were fighting against him? Now, sometimes it takes just a little bit for that glue to dry. I used a little clip there. It's a magnetic clip I had on the refrigerator. You could use just a rubber band. And then have fun, boys and girls, to pass off and show people and tell people about this is the real document. This is what was really going on. It's not the real document, but it's our version of the real document of what was going on at that time. All right. So we're going to leave that and then take off the rubber band in a little bit. All right. So maybe you have at your house a little kid. I have a little granddaughter. Her name's Lydia, and she's 3 years old. And so I always like to try to have variety because I know that you have lots of different ages when you're doing this at home. So what I did for Lydia is I have a tube that I covered with a piece of blue paper. So you want to take a piece of blue paper, and I did a paper towel tube. The paper is as long as the paper towel tube. And then you wrap it around. And you glue it across here. Okay, I need to get these out of the way so I can see better. Okay. So you glue those there. You put your clip on. Now, even for little kids, you could let them scribble on this blue paper or whatever you should choose on the color. You know, if you don't have blue paper, you could always, and you have white or white construction paper, you can always just color the stripes, color stripes on it, and make it like an Uncle Sam hat, stars on it, however you would like that. So then you do like this. And then for this one, I'm going to take this out since I already have this glued on there. And all you do is wad up some tissue paper and stick it down in. So it looks like this. And so that's a real easy one for the little ones to shake around, throw it in the air, and have some fun with it. Okay, so now let's go for one of these others. So a lot of it is just fringing the paper. A lot of it is fringing the paper, gluing it on, and then enjoying shaking it around. Like here's some of my paper that I've fringed. If you have wrapping paper that's a color, you could add that in. This is actually Christmas wrapping paper. And then you could just use red paper, blue paper, and fringe. You could add some ribbon in if you happen to have some ribbon there at your house. All right, so we're going to wrap a tube. We're going to wrap a tube with the red paper, and then we'll get a different color. So I have a short tube here. I don't have but one of the paper towel tubes, so this is a trick you can use for that. I'm going to pinch this together and put those in. Now, if you don't have two toilet paper rolls, what you can also do is you can take a piece of cardstock and you can roll it. Or even just white paper, make a couple layers. You can glue this. Now my paper is pretty stiff, so I'm going to need to allow it a little bit of a chance to dry. If you followed me before, I always talk about friction, you know, rubbing where the glue is, and maybe counting to 60 on that. Okay, we're going to do this. And we're going to set this to the side, and we're going to set our red to the side, but we're going to work on fringing our blue. So I have a piece of blue here, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to fringe the blue. Now you can decide too, this is, you know, you're thinking, evaluating, trying to see what you want to do. And so what you're going to do is you're going to decide if you want the fringe on the long side or the fringe on the shorter side. I think I want mine on the long side, so that I can make it a little bit longer. And that way when I do like this with it, it'll fly around a little bit more. So fringing the paper is just where you cut and stop, and you're going to want it about a finger's width apart, depending on your age. Boys and girls, you can just go for it. If you have a little trouble with that judgment piece, you could have your mom or your dad or your adult that's with you draw you some lines like this. The main thing is to try to get it close to even. I'm going to actually take them down more because I want it to shake a lot when I go to put this together. So I'm drawing lines across. Or maybe we have a third grader out there who just likes it to be perfectly even. They really like math and they like it to be even. You could even measure these. You might even take like a crayon and measure off where you wanted to stop. Or you could take a ruler if you want to practice those math skills. So I'm going to do like that. Now I'm going to take my scissors. Let's see, I think I want this pair. Somebody asked me before what scissors I'm using. These are just the children size scissors. I try to do anything I can with that, because that way I don't have to worry about the point for the younger children. So even with the older kids, I have them do most anything they can with this. So I'm going to cut on my line as close as I can. Now you could also double layer this with red or white, add that in there. Okay, now I think I don't like them that far apart. I want my fringe to be smaller. So I'm going to go back to these and I'm going to cut in the middle. After the video's over, I'm going to put a star pattern in the comment section. If anybody would like to add a star to some of their decorations, I mean, you can always color with crayons, colored pencils, use the markers. Maybe you have a star stencil at your house. I know I have a big star on my desk that's a paperweight. Maybe there's something at your house that you can have for that pattern. Okay. So now what I want to do is I'm not going to exactly fan fold. I'm just going to mash down kind of like I would be the fan fold, so that it gives a little movement in it already. This is one of those projects I used to do in summer school every year. When we got close to 4th of July, I thought they were so much fun. We could, celebrate our country, throwing them in the air, pretending like they were fireworks, but there was no safety problem with them. I saw this years ago. I saw this idea. Oh, probably like 35 years ago, something like that. So we'll keep going like that. So I'm loosely fan folding. Loosely fan folding those. You could roll them. You could curl them. I can show you how you can do like this real quick. This is one that boys and girls, you need to have your adult, especially if you're like second grader down, you probably ought to have your adult check you on that before you do that on your own. Now, if you want to roll them, but that's hard for you with the scissors, what you can do is you can take and you can roll it around a crayon. You can roll it around a crayon like that. It makes a little bit bigger, as you see. This is a little bit bigger circle when you roll it around the crayon. This is one of those projects that you can make one, you can make a lot. Maybe you have at your house a scrap box. Maybe it has some ribbon in it. Maybe it has some sequins in it. Maybe it has some really cool things like that that you could add to yours. I want to show you the basics, and then these would be fun. These would even be fun to do for table decorations for the 4th of July or for some other patriotic time. So, okay, so we've got that one. I want to add a little, I want to do another one. I'm just going to cut this one. I'm not going to take time to draw them. You know, that's the skill you eventually want to be able to have, is you want to be able to cut it, fringe it without having to draw the lines. You can do it so much faster that way. And maybe this time I don't want to roll them or I don't want to fan fold them. I just want this to be straight. So it gives me a different texture on the layers. And this, you know, you were estimating. There's all kinds of words we could add in here. You're estimating. You're trying to learn to cut straight. I'm kind of doing it a little quickly, so it's not quite as straight as I could usually cut this. Okay. So is anybody else out there? I know I see one name that I know she knows who her ancestor is that was a Revolutionary War. Kathy, give him a shout out with your Revolutionary War soldier's name. If anybody else has one that they would like to post, go ahead and do it. We want to celebrate those people who started our country. We want to celebrate the veterans who continue to keep our country free. All right, so then what we're going to do is we're going to roll. Like that. You can see how it starts to be a little more of a collage of different textures there. Okay, so we're going to go over now. And we're going to see about our tube. Go back down. This is when I wish I had a cameraman. Alright, so we're going to do this. Now we want to take and put our red paper on there. I think my white paper is just a tad longer than my red, but I'm not going to worry about that because red, white, and blue are our colors. So now what I want to do is I want to glue this. I'm going to put glue along the edges. Now you can use a glue stick, of course. You can use tape. However you want to put those together. I just always like to jump in and teach how to use a glue bottle. One of the tricks is that you can close it down a little bit so it doesn't come out as much. That's one of the tricks. Another trick is that I take a piece of paper, just take a little scrap like this. And so I kind of take and smooth this glue over where I had it, where I put it down. I'm just kind of smoothing it down. Smooth it down. Like that. Now I'm going to take my clothespins off and I'm going to roll that red paper. I think I'm just going to put the red paper in the middle. So I have a little bit of white sticking out on each end. Okay, so you saw you can make it without a tube. If something happened and you don't have a tube or you run out of tubes, you can make it with a tube. All right, now this is where I might like to add stars. I could cut out some other kind of shape. I found in my drawer, I found some other shapes. Oh, where are they? You lay all this stuff out and you get it ready, and then sometimes it doesn't show up when you need it to. So we're going to take this. So I'm going to cut. I have a hole punch there. The hole's already gone. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to just cut this little circle around it because I want something of interest. I want to add a little interest to it. Okay, so now I have a little shape like that. I'm going to put it up here at the top. Have a little interest, a little pizzazz. You can have pizzazz with that wrapping paper, or maybe you have sequins of different colors you could add on there. I think I saw another one of those yellow. I sure did. So I'm going to do that. Maybe I want to cut out some little circles. I have a little box of all kinds of miscellaneous items. There's not a right way and there's not a wrong way. You just keep looking and thinking and expand your creative mind is what I want you to do. Because I want you to be a thinker on your own, not just always take my idea and do exactly. I want you to take my idea as a start, and then I want you to continue and come up with maybe an idea that's even better than mine. That's pretty cool when you can do that. Okay, now I'm going to cut me a couple little circles. You can do any color combination that you want. You do have to kind of hold a minute because that's on a curve. Okay. Put another one over here. Okay. Now I could add, it looks like I could add 2 more. Well, I don't have any more paper with a hole punch. Wonder what I could do. Oh, you know what I think I'm going to do? I think I'm going to just cut across and do a couple of lines like that. All right. Maybe even just 3 lines. 3 lines might even do. So you just learn to adapt and you learn to think out of the box and think of different ways to make it, just depending on what supplies you have at your house. Because I don't want, when I do these art and craft projects on here, I don't want you to have to go out and buy a lot of things. I want you to use a lot of things you have at home and stretch your mind. And see, the more you stretch your mind with creative thought, the more you can think up new items to do and make something different. And the United States is really good at rewarding people who can think out of the box. Just like with COVID and all these people have had to rethink their business. Well, this is practice. This is practice for when you might have a time in your life that you need to rethink. All right, so let's see. I've got my papers already fixed here. I'm going to put them back together. I'm going to put them back together, and then what I'm going to want to do is I'm going to want to slide them in. I'm sliding them in here. Now, you can glue this down if you want. You don't have to. It'll usually just release and take up that space in there. Let's see if I have it up like this. All right, there we go. And see how, if we want to shake it, we don't hurt anybody or anything, and we can have lots of fun with it. All right, I want to put a few yellow pieces on here. I think that might be cool. Is to put on the end of these blue pieces, I'm going to put a few yellow pieces. Should I make circles? What do you think? Online, would anybody come up with answer in the chat box? Should I do circles? Should I do small rectangles? Or circles with a hole? Anybody want to shout out what I ought to do with that? Okay. Well, if I see somebody shout out, I'll make sure I get what you do, what you say on there. I think I'm going to go for triangles. I haven't used triangles, and you know, I did a rectangle, so now those triangles are real easy to cut. Like this. Circles with a hole. Okay, you want to see me without the hole punch, right? Circles with a hole. All right, well, let's see. Okay, you could use triangles, like I just did. On that, I just cut some, but she wants to see circles with a hole. So here's what we're going to do. I happen to have a glue stick here because I wanted to say it is okay if you use a glue stick. That's okay. I just jump in and do the glue. Teach how to do the glue. So I'm going to take my glue stick. Sparks. Oh, I see. Someone named Spark. I was like, okay, I don't know how to make a spark. Oh, my light is making me dark, isn't it? I'm trying out a new light today. I'm not sure I've got it down yet. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this circle I'm going to fold my paper in half where I drew that circle. And when I cut it, how many circles am I going to have? 2. Instead of 1, I'm going to have 2. So I'm going to cut those 2 together. This is cardstock. The yellow is that I have here. It's a little bit harder to go through. All right, so now I have circles. I have 2 circles. I'm going to fold it in half. I'm going to fold it in half. I think I'm going to go ahead and fold it in 4ths, like this. And then I'm going to take and snip off that inside. Now, most people should probably be able to do that all right with the regular paper. With cardstock, it might be hard for younger children. Okay, now it's not quite as round as I want, so I'm going to go back in here and I'm going to make it a little rounder. Oh, it's still pretty triangle-ish, isn't it? We're going to try this one. So we're experimenting, we're learning what can work and what cannot work. Okay, so I'm going to try to make this in the middle. I'm trying to make that in the middle look more circle-like. And I only folded it in half this time. Okay, there we go. I did a better job that time. Well, good deal. I hope that as you work on these, you can find different ways to do a better job, to make it better, to improve it. All right, so now what I'm doing is I put a little glue on here. And I'm going to hold it for several seconds there. Oh, that's pretty cool. I like the circle. I just need a whole bunch more of those circles, don't I? Well, I might have time for a couple more. I think I'm going to add a couple triangles since I decided I like triangles. So I'm going to put them on the blue. And I'm going to put the circles on the white. Don't forget you can use like wrapping paper. I could add silver wrapping paper or gold wrapping paper or whatever kind of wrapping paper you have that might be metallic. You could even add foil in this if you don't have anything else that's metallic looking and you would like to do that. Or maybe you have crayons. You might have crayons that are metallic. Okay, I'm going to cut like 2 more circles and then I probably better call it good. Because I don't want to spend too long, and you've got the ideas. Okay, I'm going to fold it in half. And let's see, I'm going to draw a circle. See, I could leave it, even a solid circle on some of them if I wanted to. Remember what I did? The best circle I made was when I cut it in half. And we're kind of estimating. We're estimating. We could draw something in there, but if we estimate, eventually we'll get better at it. Because, you know, I didn't come out just being able to do art like this. I had to practice and practice and practice, and my mother let me have time, and my teachers let me have time, and I practiced a whole lot, and I'm still not perfect. I am certainly still not perfect. I just keep in there trying on it. Now, I even have some things like this in my house, some sparklies, that I might even decide I want to stick something like that down in there. Now, if you do something like that, You probably need to be really careful. You probably need it for decorations as opposed to you throwing it up in the air, because it does have a little bit of metal there at the end. But it certainly would add something if you wanted to. And then I have this red one. This is red wrapping paper. I could stick this down in the top. Show you what that looks like. It also could be a piece that you could use for cheerleaders. You could do your cheers with that. Pick out the colors for your school. Now here's some ribbon. So I could stick some ribbon down in here. If I'm going to shake the ribbon around with it, I probably want to tape that ribbon in there. And then this is my fun work. That light is still, see, I'm experimenting with light. There we go. It's almost better with that paint up tall. You can see more of my light, my colors. The light's not bouncing on it. Okay, so I did ones that look like this, that have lots of fringes on them. Here's a really tall one. And then in the top part, it comes off. And it is awfully fun to shake, 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 shake. Like I said, also I'll put star patterns on the bottom in the little, and I would love to see some of these that you have made, some pictures of these. These are ones that I've made with a group of kids at my church a few years ago. And I would love to see anybody that made the Constitution. Let's see if it's dry enough now. The Constitution. I am the Constitution chairman, so I'm always saying Constitution instead of the Declaration of Independence. But right now is when we're celebrating the Declaration of Independence. So now, what do you think? Who made the flag? I might have to go research in a book and see. Did Betsy Ross make all the flags? Or maybe perhaps did someone else help with those flags? I don't know. I don't know. I think maybe Henry knew George Washington's, my Henry that was gave supplies to the Revolutionary War. I think he might have known George Washington's father and Thomas Jefferson's father. When I started reading some of those things that he went to church with Thomas Jefferson's uncle, I thought, oh my goodness, this is pretty cool that I'm not my ancestors aren't famous, but they were there helping out. And some of you out there, you have ancestors that were doing the same thing. And we want to remember with our fun and our fireworks and our picnics and our family get-togethers and friend get-togethers, we want to remember what the most important thing is. And that is to celebrate the fact that we are a free country, and those men way back there decided to set up our country. All right, this is Sarah Poff and our Fun Works. This is, let me try this again. This is Sarah Poff and our Fun Works. I appreciate you viewing with me today, and I'm still just trying to learn about this light. I thought I was doing better, but maybe I'm not. All right, I'll look forward to seeing you next Friday, and we'll have another program then, another craft program. All right, you have a great day now. Post down there some of what you made or what you learned about this time of year, celebrating the 4th of July. All right, this is Sarah Poff and her art hands. You have a great day now.